let's now turn to Asaduddin Owaisi. As I said, we want to bring in various viewpoints on this. Appreciate your joining us. The AIMIM MP from Hyderabad joins us. Mr. Owaisi, what is your objection to the Prime Minister attending the Bhumi Pujan ceremony tomorrow? Why should he not attend the Bhumi Pujan ceremony of the Ram Mandir?
Well, to make you understand, let me point out to you the brief facts of history which you have conveniently forgotten. It is a fact that the Ram Janam Bhoomi movement was started by RSS by giving the responsibility to Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and later on BJP took it up by passing a resolution in Palampur in 1989. Number one. Second, it is the BJP under the leadership of Mr. Advani who started this Rath Yatra. Wherever it went, it created havoc, communal riot. Thirdly, it was BJP in power which went to Supreme Court when Kalyan Singh was the Chief Minister and gave an assurance to Supreme Court that the Babri Masjid would not be touched. Had the Supreme Court not given permission, the Babri Masjid would have been still there. Fourth, it is the demolition of the masjid which took place on 6 December 1992, wherein the whole world knows it was Mr. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Uma Bharati, with Kalyan Singh and all the other leaders. And Mr. Modi was also part of Mr. Advani's Rath Yatra. Now, when BJP has started this movement and BJP leaders are facing criminal charges of demolition of Babri Masjid, how fit is it for a ruling party in power to preside over the foundation laying stone of a Ram temple? And the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, if he attends in his capacity as the Prime Minister, it will be sending a wrong message to the country, because I want to know from the BJP, I want to know from the Government of India, what is your religion under the Prime Minister of this country? Are you Hindu? Are you Muslim? Are you Christian? Are you Sikh? What is your religion? Because the oath which you have taken on the Constitution clearly tells you that in the discharge of your duty, you will not favor any religion. If Mr. Modi goes there as a Prime Minister, he will be sending out a message that his religion, his faith is more important and better than all other religions. And it goes against the basic structure of our Constitution. How can the Prime Minister go to a foundation laying ceremony of a divisive issue? The whole nation knows about Babri Masjid and its demolition.
You know, I'm going to come one by one to all the points you raised. I allowed you a fairly long first statement because I think you needed to explain why you oppose the Prime Minister's visit to Ayodhya tomorrow. But the fact is, Mr. Owaisi, let's now get the facts. The Supreme Court of India on November 9, 2019 rules in a title dispute that the land will go to the Ram Janmabhoomi Trust. The trust then chooses to invite the Prime Minister. Are you telling me today that based on a court verdict, if the trust has won a title suit, they cannot therefore extend an invite to the Prime Minister, or the Prime Minister of the country cannot attend it? Where in the Constitution is it written that the Prime Minister cannot attend an event which at the end of the day is being organized by the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas? Why can he not attend it? Show me where in the Constitution it prevents him from attending it.
You know, Rajdeep, if you go into the facts of the judgment, the discussion will be very long. In fact, I'm of the opinion that the judgment should not have said that a trust should be formed. But anyway, now the trust should not have called the Prime Minister. The trust should not have called the Prime Minister, number one. Secondly, the Prime Minister should have refused it.
Why?
Because he's the Prime Minister of Muslims as well. He's the Prime Minister of people who don't believe in any Allah, Bhagwan or Ram or anyone. How can the Prime Minister of this country go in his capacity and attend a function which have been the most divisive issue, and it will continue to be a divisive issue? Please remember, it's not going to end tomorrow. So that is why I feel that the Prime Minister, if he wants to go, we know what religion the Prime Minister belongs to, we know what his ideology is, but end of the day, he is the Prime Minister of this country. What is the message that he is sending out to the whole country? that number one, I will be promoting the majoritarian form of democracy. And also let me Rajdeep, please allow me to read what Mr. Suhas Paliskar wrote beautifully today in Indian Express. It formalized the peripheralization of Muslims both spatially and politically, while the celebrations openly involving state machinery underscores the officialization of the status of the Hindu religion as the basis of the new republic.
Sir,
how clear can one be?
okay, you can look at this through the Hindu-Muslim prism. You have every right to do that. There will be others who will say this is the time not to look at it through the vision of the past, but look at it through the future. Tomorrow, if the Sunni Waqf Board builds a mosque as in Ayodhya, the Prime Minister could be invited for that. He could attend that. Perhaps this is a time to perhaps finally find a new Hindu-Muslim compact. Is that not possible? Is it not time to look to the future rather than live by the antagonisms of the past, the bitterness and the divides of the past, Mr. Owaisi?
Are you trying to tell me that what the Prime Minister said in 2014 in Lok Sabha, 1200 years of slavery, forget about that, he's very weak in mathematics. The Muslim rule was only for 450 years. He talked about 1200 years of slavery, so who should move on? Are you trying to tell me that the killings of Mahatma Gandhi should be forgotten, let us move on? Are you trying to tell me that the butchering and genocide of Sikhs in 84 should be forgotten and moved on? Are you trying to tell me that 6 December 1992 should be forgotten and moved on? Rajdeep, what do you want from me as a community, as Indian Muslim?
I'll tell you what I want.
Where do you want me to move on? Forget about 2002 Gujarat?
No, sir. I am not talking about moving on. I am talking about looking ahead. I want to see, you saying, what do I want to see? I want to see, Mr. Owaisi, an India where religion and politics are not mixed, either by Prime Minister Modi or by Asaduddin Owaisi. Is that possible? I want to see an India that focuses on the real issues of this country, the bread and butter issues, the issues of the economy, the issues of jobs, not on religion and politics. That's the India I want to see, Mr. Owaisi. Is that possible?
Well, you should not ask this question to me because I am not responsible for the demolition of Babri Masjid. I am not responsible for the communal riots which took place in the streets of Mumbai. Do you want validation of Asaduddin Owaisi for this, for tomorrow? What else do you want from me? Why is it that you always put me as a Muslim, as an Indian Muslim on a pedestal? Move on. Where do you want me to move on? Rajdeep, I am in abyss. Where do you want me to move on? Please tell me. I cannot move on further. You, people like you, people who aspire to this Hindutva ideology, where do I move on? You have suffocated me.
No, 1 minute, 1 minute.
You listen
1
to
minute
me.
for God's sake.
No.
Mr. Owaisi, I am not espousing any Hindutva ideology. I am a journalist asking questions. I am looking instead to find out what are the ways for a new Hindu-Muslim compact. And in that context, I am in a way appealing to both Mr. Modi ji and Owaisi ji, not so much to move on, but to find a way forward.
Rajdeep, please tell me what happened to all those secular parties? Hindu, Muslim or communal amity can only happen if the constitution is followed in principle and implemented in toto. Simple. Forget about all these flowery statements by Rajdeep Sardesai. What happens on the ground is important. Where are these secular parties now? Why are they quiet now? From 2014 onwards, in the name of love jihad, in the name of cow protection, in the name of Citizenship Amendment Act, what do you want? Who's raising a voice? Lawyers, journalists, everyone has been put in prison. All the voices have been scuttled. People have been put in prison for only dissenting. And you tell me, move on. Where do I move on? Is there a space to move on, Rajdeep? Please tell me. There is no space to move on apart from fighting in a constitutional way, in a democratic way against this government, which is hell-bent on weakening the constitutional structure of this country. So long as any government does not subscribe and upholds the constitution's basic structure, where will communal amity happen?
No, 1
if
minute.
Justice is not being done, what can happen?
You are telling me that the Prime Minister visiting Ayodhya in a way is against the basic structure of the constitution, against secular values. Now, as I said at the start, he has been invited by the Ram Janmabhoomi Nyas. tomorrow, if he is invited by the Sunni Waqf Board, should he not go there? Will you object to that? Are you saying that a secular nation, politician should show no preference than Hindu or Muslim? Is that, I want to know, will you object tomorrow if the Prime Minister is invited to a mosque inauguration and goes for it?
Rajdeep, what a joke you're cracking. You know, I must really thank you for your sarcasm. Rajdeep, you covered Gujarat communal riots. More than 1,000 masjids, dargahs were demolished completely. Were demolished completely when Mr. Modi was the Chief Minister. To answer to your question, no, Mr. Narendra Modi or even Asaduddin Owaisi or any government in power should not have anything to do with any religious rituals. Public money should not be used for any religion. To hell with iftar parties. I don't care about iftar parties. Your second question to iftar party. Rajiv, do you think that a Muslim fasts for 18 hours just for this damn iftar party? No. The government should be above all religions. The government should celebrate all religions. The government should also celebrate who don't believe in any God.
Very fine words. Government should not spend public money on religious festivals. I'll remind you of this next time if there's an iftar party, maybe possibly, of course, the usual Hajj debate. I will remind you of all this, Mr. Owaisi. I also hope you know that whether you are in Saudi Arabia, or Pakistan or Iran, these are also countries which have completely blurred the line between the state and religion. I hope, Mr. Owaisi, you will speak out on that also.
Why should I speak out against them? Am I a Saudi citizen? Am I an Iranian citizen? And what makes you ask this question? I take strong exception to Mr. Rajiv Sardesai asking me a question about a Muslim country. Do you assume that I owe allegiance to Saudi Arabia or Iran?
Mr. Owaisi,
you're completely wrong.
No, Mr. Owaisi, don't.
You're completely wrong.
I am only saying that we must.
You're completely wrong.
Mr. Owaisi, I am saying that since you have defined secularism as staying away from all forms of religion, I am just saying only this. Let us be clear that all countries that mix religion and politics therefore must be questioned. We cannot only be selective in the way we approach the issue of secularism.
No, Rajdeep, I will not allow you, no. I will not allow you to run away because it is because of so-called liberal people like you who view Asaduddin Owaisi to the prism of Saudi and Iran.
I
to hell with your thinking.
You are a proud
what
Indian
have I got
citizen.
To do with this country? My country is India and it will always be my country, India. It is a constitution which guarantees me and you as an equal citizen. Would you ask this question to a Hindu about Nepal?
No, 1 minute.
Would you ask this question to any Hindu? No, you wouldn't do it.
No.
Because I am a Muslim. You have this, you ask me this question for what?
No.
I will not answer this question. I have nothing to do with Saudi Arabia.
I asked you this question in the context of what I see at times as selective adherence to secular values. I am only asking you, for example, I respect the fact you are a proud Indian citizen. I have no doubt about that, Mr. Owaisi. But the fact is, Asaduddin Owaisi, you have a party called All India Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin, roughly translated as the All India Council for Unity of Muslims. And you are telling me on the show that you believe true secularism is in separating the state and religious activities. So I am saying, let's all walk the talk.
Definitely, the state should keep out. The state should even celebrate all religions. The state should even celebrate people who don't believe in God, who are atheists. The state has no religion at all. That is what secularism of this country demands. That is why our forefathers fought against the Britishers for 200 years. For what? For this secularism to be implemented. Not the secularism, this so-called secularism which Rajiv Sardesai believes or which Mr. Narendra Modi wants to destroy.
No. Let's be very clear. My definition of secularism would be possibly Sarva Dharma Samabhav, keeping all religions equal and possibly equidistant. In fact, keeping religion, if it can be, out of public life. That's my definition. I want to know, does Asaduddin Owaisi also agree with that? In that sense, Sarva Dharma Samabhav, keep religion out of politics?
You see, Rajdeep, let me not go into semantics. The state has no religion. The Prime Minister and his government has no religion. At the same time, the Prime Minister can follow his religion. But his government has no religion. The government should not get involved in promoting a religion. the government should not use public revenues for religious rituals of Islam, of Hinduism, of Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism. That is what I understand about secularism.
Okay, Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi, that is a fine definition of secularism. As I said, the challenge is actually practicing it on the ground. Asaduddin Owaisi, as part of our big Ram Mandir debate, I appreciate your joining me